What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Uberkooledgarage. On this week's episode, we are going to get this thing running. So, very special and exciting video today. Got a couple new subscribers, so welcome to the channel, guys. Instagram has been blowing up lately, so I'm hoping some new subscribers from Instagram will come over and start following the build series on YouTube. Very excited that everybody's starting to find the build, really like it, so you guys are awesome. Getting super excited about this car. New project will be coming in here pretty shortly. Actually, I have a couple new projects that will be on the way shortly. So I'm trying to get as much of this car done as I physically can before Buggerama, which is May 28th and 29th. So I'm going to push really hard to get this car there. Now that it is running, need to finish off the chassis. Some suspension parts, start getting the transmission where it needs to be, getting that to shift and stuff like that. So we will continue pushing super hard on this car. Hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you guys at the end. Okay, guys, so I said in the next episode that we are going to be starting this car in this episode. So, a couple things have happened since last video. I went ahead and went and tightened up all of the entire fuel system. I got the tank in here, so you can see the fittings down here. That goes out of the fuel cell, into the filter, into the fuel pump, into the second filter. Comes down into these bulkhead fittings here. I did get a lot of questions about what I'm going to do here. Everybody was saying I should have put bulkhead fittings back here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build a box that boxes this off. And then the firewall will come off of that box. I have the original stock footwell here that'll cover the box, so it'll give a nice place for the passenger to put their feet, and it matches the carpet that I have for the car, so it'll kind of be like a stock Volkswagen on the passenger side footwell. So one of these is the return loops up and around and in. Don't mind all of this. All of this will get strapped down and get it all nice and tidy. I have it just hooked up now. So those lines run through the center tunnel. Get down here and show you. So they come out of there. They'll run all the way across, all the way through. Those will get straps as well. And then they come out of here. If you notice, I had to notch the center tunnel for my bulkhead fittings. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get to the bolt get to the actual AN fitting on the inside because of this center tube here. So notch that back. That'll all get boxed and plated in, and then the bulkhead fittings will go into those. And then both fuel lines come around. There are two more bulkhead fittings here on the chassis. And then from there, it goes soft hose off of those into the fuel rails. So this setup here is temporary. Eventually, I'm going to get some billet aluminum TGV deletes, bigger injectors, and regular fuel rails. And then all of this stuff will be AN fittings in here with a aftermarket fuel pressure regulator. So, fuel system's done, clutch system's done. I do have about a gallon of gasoline inside of the fuel cell. So I will cycle the fuel pump a couple times, make sure I have no leaks. And then from there, I just need to connect a couple coolant lines, make sure that all of my oil lines are tight. Same with the turbo ones. And that's basically it. Finish off a couple cooling system things so then I can fill it up with water so I can run it longer than a couple minutes, well, a couple seconds. So I'm going to plug away at this stuff and we'll get this thing fired up. Okay guys, well you saw me stringing wire. I'm probably going to strap all this together and just make one clean run. This is all temporary. I'm going to end up rebuilding the entire harness. Also got the intercooler piping all buttoned up. I do have to make a exit for the turbo. So that pipe will just come up and just follow this one for the wastegate. And then I got to tag the O2 sensor in there. I don't have a threaded bung. So I'm probably just going to drill a hole, shove this in there, and maybe use a stainless zip tie to hold it in there for now. Everything's plugged in motor-wise. The only things I have to figure out are what these two go to. I have that one labeled, but it doesn't really make sense. So it's kind of weird. So all those wires come down. I have the wideband right here next to the oil pressure. And then I have this plate just resting here with everything I need to get this thing going. So that is the ignition box for the push start. So ignition box, ECU, the relays for the coils, the fuel injectors, the fuel pump, all of that. And then I have a fuse block right here. So what I'll do is I'll run power from the fuse block down to the battery cable that comes down that's sitting underneath the car will get plugged into the battery. And then I need to run wires from the fuel pump over to the relay. And just a couple other little itty bitty bits. And we should be ready to fire it. So, got a couple more things wiring-wise to do. I do have one leak on the fuel lines. So, I got to tighten that up, make sure that seals up good. But other than that, the fuel system's actually primed. It's got fuel pressure in it. It's got one little tiny leak. So I only have about 1.5 gallons of fuel in there, with some additive fuel system cleaner just to flush anything out of the injectors if there is anything. So let's finish up this wiring. I'll probably end up doing it in the morning. It is roughly midnight right now and probably about 35 degrees, 34 degrees in the garage. So I'm going to go in, get some sleep, and come out first thing in the morning, wire this stuff up, and then we'll fire this baby up. Hopefully everything works out all right. I still have to charge up the laptop, plug the laptop in, make sure that the tune that's on the ECU is the same tune that it was. Just go through, double check everything, and then go ahead and hit that push button right there. So, see you guys in the morning. Okay, guys, so it is Thursday night. I was planning on starting the car on Sunday. Ended up having to do a whole bunch of stuff to Derek's bug, so I didn't end up having time to start this thing up. And then Sunday night, I got sent to work in the Bay Area, so I wasn't home all week. So just got back tonight. Came home to a box. So this is these are my shift cables. So go ahead and I'll unbox these and lay them out and show you guys what we got. And then I have to plug in a couple wires over there, and then I'll start routing these, getting these all situated, and then should be able to fire this up this weekend for sure. Get everything situated with all of the shift cables and all of that, and want to start finishing up suspension, get the seats mounted, get the floorboards back in, and get all of that stuff set up. That way we can take this thing for its first drive. So I changed a couple things up. Got the wiring harness laid out, went ahead and routed it up, and made this aluminum panel here. I'm going to start digging through wires and stuff. I'm going to mount the ECU right here, the fuse panel, the push start, a couple different fuse panels, the relays, all of that. I'll mount on this panel. And this will just be a temporary panel. That way, if I need to, I can just unplug the harness and probably a couple things that go to the battery. I have, let's see if I can show you. So I just have hose clamps on all four corners that hold this in. So if I ever need to remove it, just remove the hose clamps. This whole panel will come off. Everything's going to be attached to it. I will build something different once I get the body on there. I think I'm probably going to build a panel behind the dash that just holds everything. That one will unbolt as well, and then a couple connectors will come off if I ever need to remove it. So I'm going to start digging through wiring, get all this sorted and situated, get everything all zip tied up where it needs to be. These are spare circuits. I'll probably just zip tie those somewhere out of the way, and if I need stuff later on in the future, then I can run wire back to where I need it. So I'm gonna dig through some of this stuff and figure out where everything needs to go, and then we should be good. Well, things are a little bit messy, but got a bunch of stuff plugged in. I am just using wire nuts on all of the leads, just because this is all gonna come out and then everything will get tagged in completely. But I think I have everything pretty close to wrapped up. I got the laptop out, got the battery cables. I still have to run the power lead out. I'm going to steal the battery out of my daily for now, just for this startup, and then I'll probably go pick up a battery. I also went ahead and welded up an up pipe, I guess you would call it, onto the turbo flange. It's actually just tacked onto the turbo flange, but the pipe that runs into it is extremely tight. So I got that tacked all the way around. Didn't want to fully weld it because I am ordering exhaust pipe here in the next day or two. That way I can build out the full exhaust. That is the O2 sensor's just kind of sticking in there. So that runs up, goes all the way up front. I'm going to start it without the radiator, just for a couple seconds, and then I should be getting my fitting for the last fitting for the radiator system probably tomorrow, maybe Sunday. And then I can finish off the radiator system, get all of that all tightened up and buttoned up. The shift cable, I kind of have just sitting here. I'm going to have to move my master cylinder a tiny bit to get those in there, but that runs back down underneath the car and ends up right here. So I'll end up building my mounts for this stuff and building the bracket and all of that stuff here pretty quick. But let's, I gotta fix one fuel leak, and then I'll plug in the battery, turn on the laptop, double check everything, make sure everything's where it needs to be, and we should be firing it up. I'm also don't have the alternator in yet. I need to go pick up a belt and build a custom mount for the actual alternator itself. I'm going to move the location, drop it down and out of the way. That way it cleans up the entire engine bay and fits a little bit better than stock, because the way that the stock one is, it sits up top here a lot, and I don't want that to interfere with any type of firewall that I build. So it'll end up pulling this way and then dropping down next to the oil fill. So we'll go ahead and do that, fix these little tiny things that I have to do, and then I guess it's time to fire this thing up. Super nervous. Okay guys, so I got everything plugged in. I got a water bottle right here on the turbo feed. I'm going to go ahead and verify oil pressure. So the push start's pretty dang cool. Turns everything on. It takes a second. Only turns over for a couple seconds, and then it shuts off and puts it into a safety. So I'll definitely have to work on the tune and get that right, but I'm going to keep trying to verify oil pressure, and then we should be ready to start.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
she runs. Fuck yeah. Super excited. Alrighty, so as you guys saw, the monster is alive. So definitely have some tuning issues. It's been over a year since this motor has ran. So definitely got to dig into the tune a little bit, but I want to finish off the coolant lines first. That way I can get coolant in there. That way I can run it a little bit longer and check over the tune, see exactly what's going on. It's backfiring at low RPM, so I think it's leaning out. Hopefully it's not too bad. So we'll definitely start doing some tuning and stuff, but I'm gonna finish up the coolant pipes so then I can get some water in here. That way I can tune it better for longer. So everything worked out good. No oil leaks, no fuel leaks. My block breather down under the manifold definitely pushed quite a bit of oil out. So I'm definitely going to have to put a breather tank on this sooner rather than later. I have one built already. I have to go pick up some hoses. That way I can get those tagged in and get the throttle cable in there. But the bracket for the throttle cable is on order. Should hopefully be here within the next couple days. And I also think I'm going to look into plugging the idle air control valve back in, just to help with the idle. I tuned it before without it, and it worked okay, but it wasn't super consistent. So definitely going to look into putting that back in, wire it into the computer, get all that set up. But other than that, she is alive, and I cannot be more excited. So time to start finishing up the rest of these projects on this car. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you this week. Super excited about this. Fired up almost instantly. I do have quite a bit of tuning issues that I have to go through, but I will go through the entire program and see what needs to be adjusted, see if I forgot something. But it does run, it does start up. I am going to start finishing off some chassis stuff. I will tear the car apart and start fully welding out the cage, finish off a couple bars, and get into the suspension stuff, finish that up. After all that, we'll take it for its first drive. So until the next one, peace out, guys.